Shalom, we're the Hebrew Israelites from Toronto, Canada. Coming to bring you a lesson on and a reproof to General Gehenna about rape and sowing discord amongst brothers and a lying tongue. Okay? Let's start with that article first. And it's going to show you that he's been talking a lot of nonsense about the Toronto camp and talking about some 95-year-old being raped up here. There's no occurrence of any 95-year-old person being raped in Toronto. There's an occurrence of, I think it's one person being raped in Canada, in New Brunswick, or New Brunswick, Nova Scotia. But there's no occurrence of anything in Toronto happening, and that was many, many years ago before any camp was even existed. We're getting tired of having to defend ourselves for no reason or for nothing, you know? But it's just out there for you brothers to know and to show that nothing's going on like that. Go ahead.
Okay, this is from Wikipedia, Peter Dupont. It says, Peter Dupont is an Australian serial killer, currently serving 3 consecutive life sentences for murder. Alright, the span of his killings were from 1997 to 1999. I'm going to jump down to the 95-year-old, which is murder of Kathleen Downs. Dupont is a suspect in the murder of 95-year-old Kathleen Downs at the Brunswick Lodge nursing home in Brunswick. Downs was stabbed to death at 6:30 on December 31st, 1997, a month after Halvage's murder. Yeah, that was it basically. It doesn't say anything else on there. And Brunswick is
New Brunswick. Eastern Canada.
Oh no, it's not even in Canada, it's in Australia.
It's Brunswick in Australia.
Yeah.
Slack
Oh, it's Brunswick in Australia?
We thought it was in New Brunswick, Canada.
Brunswick, Canada.
Brunswick is a suburb in Melbourne, Australia.
Oh, Slack.
So that means there is no occurrence.
There is no occurrence.
Of anybody raping
Canada, yeah.
anyone in Canada.
Oh.
There is no occurrence of it happening.
I thought they said New Brunswick.
New Brunswick, yeah. Okay, so
once again, we stand corrected. There is no occurrence of anybody raping a 95-year-old in Canada.
Yeah.
That's a big case. That would be heard all over the news. Yeah. So that guy who was from the States, obviously lying about, he knows the person, he was there. Basically, he's saying he was standing guard or some kind of crap like that. He knows the person directly who did it. I'd like you to come forward. That fucking bitch that's behind there talking about it happened in my area. Why don't you come forward? Because you know that in Canada, if you're a sex offender, you cannot drop those kind of charges. You cannot hide them. They have to be put out in the public to save the public, or else the people have a lawsuit against the government.
Yep, exactly.
You people are stupid, man. Stupid. Keep bringing false accusations, man.
Yep.
Now let's go to the next occurrence that we found of the 95-year-old woman.
Okay, jury finds man guilty in attempted rape of 95-year-old woman. Alright. A jury of 9 women and 3 men found Brian Anthony Rivas, a 42-year-old ex-convict, guilty on Friday of the attempted rape, robbing and beating of a 95-year-old woman in her historic district home last April. That was it. This is from, where is it from, North Carolina?
He's from North Carolina.
Yeah, right there it says, what's the county?
Hanover or something?
Hanover County, right there.
Right, New Hanover County Superior Court.
Yeah, which is North Carolina, and that's why I wanted the brother to bring it out, because I was the one that actually called into your show, and I actually thought this was from Toronto, because I searched rapes in Toronto, Canada, and this is what came up. But I actually never knew it was in North Carolina, you know. So that's another
cut.
Yeah, that's another cut. Because I actually, and correction, it was a cut and correction on my behalf. So there was nothing in Canada's history of a 95-year-old woman being raped. You know, so yeah.
Okay.
All right. Deuteronomy 22.
Okay.
Now, Gehenna, he's saying that in Deuteronomy 22, right? You know which one? Deuteronomy 22.
And
which one is it? 28.
Is it 28? Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
It's Deuteronomy 22, verse 28. If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, and lay hold on her.
Yeah, so Gehenna's saying that lay hold means to seduce a woman. He actually said that in one of his videos.
And I forgot to read. I did not get a chance to read. In that same scripture in Deuteronomy, what was it? 22, 28? Something like that. In that scripture in Deuteronomy where it say lay hold on it, you can translate that into the Hebrew. And in the Hebrew, it say the word means to seduce. Get that for me. You know where it's at? Y'all tell them where it's at. I got the eastward. You on point, Hebrew. You keeps me right with this thing here. Boy, you keeps me right with this thing here. Where you at? Tell them where you at. You in what? Deuteronomy. Y'all bear with me. I'm switching gears for a second. What chapter? 28th chapter? 22nd chapter? All right, everybody get Deuteronomy, the 22nd chapter and the 28th verse. All right, this is the scripture we brought out last week. I want to hit back on it just for a second, and I'm getting back on what I'm on. Talking about these parasites. All right, 22, 28. Read that loud.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 22. The Most High shall smite thee with a consumption.
No, Deuteronomy 22 and 28. My bad, I think I confused you.
Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 28.
That's right.
If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, and lay hold on her.
Stop right there. Where it say lay hold on her, in the Strong's Hebrew Bible, it gives you the code. H8610. Everybody can look this up. H8610 is the Strong's Hebrew translation of the word. And if you look it up, the proper pronunciation of it is thapas. Thapash is the proper translation of the word thapash. What does the word mean? It is a primitive root meaning to manipulate. So when they say to lay hold on that woman, it means to manipulate her, to seduce her. That is seize, chiefly to capture or wield, specifically to overlay. Meaning you overtake her, you overlay her, you put your authority over her. Not you force her and rape her, you dirty, stinking bastards that use the Bible for your own sake. When the Hebrew word say to manipulate her. When it means in that scripture to lay with her, it means that you seduce that woman. And lay with her, then you make her your wife. In Old English, they use the word lay hold for several types of meanings. To force a woman can sometimes be lay hold. But in Deuteronomy 22:28, the translation of the word is thapash, which means to manipulate. I ain't even going to add no more. I ain't got to say no more.
And he said that it means to seduce a woman, to deceive her. In Esau's law, that's considered rape.
That's right.
And we're going to bring it out.
Okay.
So your own general, he's condoning rape, whether he knows it or not.
You know, what we're going to do here is we're going to give you the information in Canada about sexual assault or quote-unquote rape. Because we know what the real definition of rape is, and we'll bring it out afterwards. But Canada is one of the smarter countries that actually changed the words to mean sexual assault, the act of sex. So in Canada, it's considered sexual assault is defined as sexual contact with another person without that other person's consent. Consent is defined in section 273.1, okay, subsection 1. Now we're going to go through these subsections to show you what consent is, right? Now consent, brother, can you read this one, please?
Yep.
I have it here too. For you.
You want to read it?
Don't matter.
Okay, go ahead.
Doesn't matter.
Subsection 1. As the voluntary agreement of the complainant to engage in the sexual activity in question. It says consent. The absence of consent defines the crime of sexual assault. Section 273.1, subsection 1, defines consent. Section 273.1, subsection 2, outlines certain circumstances where no consent is obtained, while section 273.1, subsection 3, states that subsection 2 does not limit the circumstances where no consent is obtained. No consent to sexual assault is also subject to section 265, subsection 3, which also outlines several situations where the act is deemed non-consensual. In 2011, the Supreme Court of Canada in R versus JA interpreted the provisions below to find that a person must have an active mind during the sexual activity in order to consent, and that they cannot give consent in advance.
Okay, let's explain some of the stuff that we just read right there. So in this section, they're talking about the fact that they're going to define what consent is in the first subsection. The second subsection, they're going to define what non-consent is, and then in the third section, it's going to state what does not limit to certain circumstances what consent is. We'll get to that and show you what exactly that means. Now, when we drop down to where it says an active mind during the sexual activity in order to consent, and that they cannot give consent in advance, or
Yep. That's what it said.
okay.
Yep.
Can we get the active reus?
Yeah, actus reus. Okay. This is actus reus. It says actus reus, sometimes called the external element or the objective element of a crime, is the Latin term for the guilty act, which when proved beyond a reasonable doubt in combination with mens rea, guilty mind, produces criminal liability in the common law-based criminal law jurisdictions of Canada, Australia, India, Pakistan, South Africa, New Zealand, England and Wales, Ireland, and the United States.
Commonwealth countries.
Right.
Jumped out to, I believe it's etymology.
Etymology. The term actus reus and mens rea developed in English law are derived from the principle stated by Edward Coke, namely actus non facit reum nisi mensit rea, which means an act does not make a person guilty unless their mind is also guilty. Hence, the general test of guilt is one that requires proof of fault, culpability, or blameworthiness, both in behavior and mind.
It has to be shown that their mind knows, or that they know that what they committed was an act of guilt. Okay. Now let's jump down to the meaning of consent, subsection 1.
Okay. And if I may say this, that shows you that the white man's a devil, because in the scriptures it says that 2 or 3 witnesses, right? Every word shall be established. In this man's society, if your mind is set on that you didn't do anything wrong, which there's people like that, they'll kill someone and they'll say, yeah, I didn't do shit wrong. Your mind is totally focused, you know? And
they'll call it insanity.
Yeah, insanity, or you'll get off lighter, you know, or if you know.
They'll send you to a mental institution.
That's right. So that's not in the scriptures. If the evidence is there, it doesn't matter what you think, man. It doesn't matter what you think. The law is there, and then you execute it.
Yeah, Esau will say that it wasn't him. He was another person.
Personality. And you can only what's it called? You can only convict one person. And if you have a bipolar, it means you have 2 personalities inside of you. Who are you gonna convict? An innocent person is free.
Okay.
That's some stupid shit you got going on in this country. In these countries,
it's just confusion, man.
It's just confusion, yeah.
And Johanna, you're bringing about confusion.
Because you're believing in this.
Yeah.
We're bringing out for edification purpose of the brothers and the brotherhood, just to show you that even you, by yourself, out of your own mouth, consents to rape. Okay? Through your own mouth. Go ahead.
Meaning of consent. 273.1 subsection 1, subject to subsection 2 and subsection 265.3. Consent means for the purposes of sections 271, 272, and 273, the voluntary agreement of the complainant to engage in the sexual activity in question, where no consent obtained.
So what we just read there is how, when you're having sexual contact,